good news all day long. You were tuned in to the hottest station on the planet. Keep it locked.
This is G20 Africa Live on MDNtv, your front row seat to Africa's voice at the G20. Nasrec Expo Center, the heart of the 2025 G20 Summit, where global leaders are gathered on South African soil. And today, Africa is not on the sidelines. Africa is at the table, shaping the decisions that will define the next decade. This summit is more than speeches. It's trade, it's climate justice, it's food security, it's peace, and the voices of young women in our country calling for protection and accountability. Motorcades moving through the precinct, helicopters in the Jozi sky, and inside a global audience listening closely. President Cyril Ramaphosa opened the summit with a firm message: Africa is not a junior partner. Africa is a co-architect of global solutions. He emphasized fair, modern trade that supports African industry, reforming global financial systems, climate finance that reaches communities on the ground, a bold start, and a decisive statement that Africa's future will not be negotiated without Africa's voice at the center. Across the summit hills, African leaders are pushing concrete priorities. New models for infrastructure financing, a just transition that protects jobs while building renewable energy capacity, and climate justice, not as charity, but as overdue investment in a continent carrying the hardest impacts of heat waves, of droughts, and of floods. Africa is approaching this summit with clarity, data, leverage, and unity. Although the United States is not present, other major G20 partners are engaging constructively. Brazil is pledging renewable energy collaboration. India is expanding tech and pharmaceutical partnerships. The European Union is deepening its just energy transition work with South Africa. Saudi Arabia and the UAE are focusing on infrastructure and solar energy projects. Japan and Indonesia are discussing skills development for industrial growth. And Russia is participating in grain supply talks to strengthen Africa's food security. The tone of the summit is unmistakable. The world needs Africa as an economic partner, not a resource pit.
I would say to the leaders of G20 as a young South African black woman is that they should help us tackle the issue of unemployment.
To the leaders of the G20, I'd have like a suggestion as they are gathered today, that as the youth of today, there's a lot of difficulties that we are facing. There's a lot of graduates, they are unemployed. Our crime rate is too high. And also, as well as the GBV violence, it's at a high. You know, we are living as young women, but you are safer when you are down there, underground. Because you can't walk freely, you can't do anything without being scared that today I'm wearing a skirt, it's too short. What am I doing wrong? You understand? You always have to safeguard yourself against predators. Whereas I feel like if there was more implementations against these things where you wouldn't be blamed for being a victim, action would be taken. Instead of you reporting a crime, then it gets shoved under the desk.
But outside the official halls, young people, especially young women, are raising a critical issue that cuts through everything else: gender-based violence. South Africa continues to face some of the highest GBV rates globally, and young women are demanding urgent action tied to development funding, safety, and economic opportunity. There is no inclusive growth if women are not safe. There is no real progress if the girls of this continent cannot participate fully in society. Civil society leaders at Nasrec are calling for fresh investment in women's protection, shelters, community programs, and economic empowerment with youth and women at the center of policy. The African Union is now a permanent member of the G20. The African Union delivered a unified, sharp position. Reform global finance, fair debt restructuring, food security, peace and protection of vulnerable communities, especially women and youth. The AU's message today is that Africa is prepared. Africa is solutions-driven and no longer willing to inherit the world's problems. We are shaping new pathways. Business roundtables here at NASREC show strong interest in African manufacturing, tech and innovation, agricultural modernization, and women-led and youth-led enterprises. Analysts are saying billions in investment could flow into local industries if today's commitments solidify, with the potential to build jobs and stabilize communities across the continent. From the NASREC Expo Center in Joburg, it's clear. Africa is not waiting for recognition. Africa is leading. From the powerful voices of young women demanding safety to leaders forging new pathways to trade and climate justice, the summit is shifting the global balance right here at home. Stay tuned for continuing coverage from the G20 summit, live from Johannesburg, Saturday, November 23rd, where Africa speaks, the world listens, and change is already unfolding. I'm Non Buerta. This is G20 Africa Live on MDNtv, your front row seat to Africa's voice at the G20.